For an action scene like this, what music do you expect? Is it triumphant? Is it fast-paced and intense? Or is it simply muted, only the echoes of the gunshots and the slamming fists enveloping the scene? In Park Chan-wook's eyes, Oldboy is not a revenge-driven action thriller, but a comedy. A satire, something to watch and laugh with others. So for him, in a pivotal scene like this, such music or lack thereof would not suffice. So he would present us with a simple tune, a melodious one at that, in a lonely place. The film begins with our main character, in 1988, imprisoned on a drunk and disorderly charge. After creating a reckless, albeit hilarious outrage in the police station, it is revealed to the audience that it is his daughter's birthday, the first point where the director sows the seeds of his climax. Soon, after being released, he calls his family on a telephone box, only for the camera to slowly pan away and reveal that he has somehow vanished into the fog around them. And with a simple jump cut, time becomes indistinguishable. He becomes imprisoned by 4 walls surrounding him and only a single television box to keep him entertained. And I think it is here that the director characterizes, or rather reveals, who the protagonist really is. We bear witness to how his most animalistic and carnal instincts take over, ultimately showing us his eventual desire for vengeance. But what the director subverts is who Soo is as an individual. He is not chauvinistic or suave like
Bond. James Bond.
Fearless like Tom Cruise in his Mission Impossible films, or daring and outwardly cocky like John McClane.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
No, he is something more primitive, more innately primal. The director shows how his time in servitude was slowly stripping him of his humanity, like the fraying ends of a piece of string. But how the director manages to remain a step ahead is through his ability to subvert our expectations. As mysteriously as he was held captive, he is soon released on an elegant grassy plain, or so we believe. He then presents us with the first action block of the movie, and even through this, he tries to hint to the audience how this movie is not what one should expect. Unlike most fast-paced and rigid action blocks, this is more free-flowing, ramping between moments of slow motion to fast-paced action. More a movement of dance and symphony, rather than an animalistic urge to display dominance. However, despite this, he is still able to present this character as another conventional archetype. Until he isn't. A single moment completely changes how we view this character. Or as he puts it himself, and that reveals his true self. He isn't what you would expect of a normal action hero. He can't be. And that is what Park Chan-wook finds outrightly funny.
사실은 그보다는 저는 올드보이야말로 코미디로 느껴지면 좋겠어요.
He is a satire, a deconstruction of the heroic myth of the main character. He isn't those characters that can simply overcome adversity and have an intrinsic desire for justice and truth. Cause in his eyes, it is all a simple fallacy, a falsity that we humans create to please ourselves due to the hardships of our modern world. But Wook doesn't allow it. He forces us to confront ourselves and understand how our idyllic view of reality crumbles when we ultimately succumb to our raw and innate desires. Cause in the end, in his nihilistic viewpoint, humanity is just as ugly as the characters of this story.
난 이제 괴물이 돼버렸다.
But let's take a step back and look at this story on a more conceptual level, cause then only can we understand the significance of that particular scene. After being released from his captivity, he instantly begins his search into the mysterious circumstances behind his kidnapping. Through this, he meets Mai-du, a sushi chef who, for some reason, unknowingly recognizes each other.
굉장히 낯이 익은데 어디서 뵀죠?
And now becomes a major ally. And then comes the first major plot beat. A single phone call.
누구냐 너?
To uncover the mystery behind his captivity, he first has to identify who did this. And through this, he begins his relentless search behind the people involved in his unforgiving kidnapping.
아니, 그 새끼 잡아 죽인 다음에
And there he finds it, a single hotel room where people are paid to imprison unknowing victims. After uncovering this comes this pivotal action scene as he attempts to leave this terrible place of captivity. And as the director reiterates, even through this scene, he attempts to subvert the viewer's expectations.
예, 이렇게 시작하면 관객을 좀 오도하게 되죠. 제가 좋아하는 것이 바로 관객의 오도인데
The scene is not a heroic display of pure action and style, but rather a disposition of the unbroken determination and grit of the protagonist. It is raw, exhausting, and outrageously humane. For the first time in the movie, the audience breaks from the filmic mold that the director has put us within and rather provides a more objective, omniscient viewpoint. It's a dissertation on the character of Odissu, a revelation of how his profound search for vengeance is slowly chipping the human aspect of this character. But also, this scene holds further importance, because right after this, the captor reveals himself to be Lee Woo-jin, and therein marks the second major plot beat.
먼저 누구냐? 그리고 그 다음에 왜냐?
Because of this, the film shifts from trying to uncover who is behind the imprisonment to why. Taking a slight genre deviation, it shifts from an action crime thriller to more of a detective crime noir, a retracing of steps to memories unexplored, moments repressed, or rather so insignificant that he simply doesn't need to remember them.
이우진이? 몰라. 야, 그게 범인 이름이냐? 어떻게 알아냈는데?
And he finally finds the answer, the reason why he spent 15 long years in solitary captivity, how his discovery of the incestuous relationship between Lee Woo-jin and his sister, Lee Soo-ya, led to the spread of this rumor,
네 얘기하면 죽는데.
ultimately resulting in her own demise as she plummets into the Habchum Dam. And the story shifts. It was never about Odissu's search for vengeance against his captor, but for Lee Woo-jin as he seeks redemption and justice for the death of his sister. This movie was never about Odissu, but rather how Lee Woo-jin attempts to replicate that same incestuous relationship by manipulating Odissu and his daughter, Mai-do, through hypnosis. And ultimately, the director is able to reveal the main theme of this narrative, the futility of revenge. Being part of Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy, this story explores how vengeance is rather an inconsequential construct, and how it removes any significant sense of meaning or purpose for the individual. Despite Lee Woo-jin's revenge coming to fruition, his story still ends in tragedy. Just like Lee Soo-ya, he plummets into despair as he finally accomplishes his lifelong purpose. He has lost any semblance of meaning. As in a nihilistic turn of events, he shoots himself as he reminisces about the moment his sister let loose of his hands. And I think the director is able to perfectly exemplify this through several visual cues. At the start of the movie, as Lee-soo begins to uncover more about his captivity, the director showcases how the character is constantly rising upwards, trying to seek the light at the end of the tunnel, as through his primitive point of view, achieving his act of revenge is the only way he can truly recover his past life. Even look at the character of Woo-jin, referring to himself as the lonely prince in the high tower from Alexander Dumas' Count of Monte Cristo. Like Dante's, he believes that he can find true atonement and redemption through acts of revenge, but the director knows that this is never true. Just like how Odissu goes down in an elevator right after his release, Lee Woo-jin follows suit, revealing how this intrinsic desire for vengeance is what ultimately causes the moral collapse of each character.
수직으로 오르내리는 이미지, 도덕적인 추락.
And the director directly challenges us as well. Odissu had the opportunity to relive his past life, begin a relationship with Mai-do without knowing the truth behind their connection. Yet his eternal need to uncover the truth ultimately prevents him from doing so, even attempting to achieve so through hypnosis, despite its eventual ambivalence. And he directly confronts us, asking if our constant desire for validation and need to understand what occurs around us will provide us fulfillment, or ultimately prevent us from achieving existential meaning.
어쩌면요. 아저씨 풀어준 이유가요. 복수한다고 막 미쳐서 다니는 꼴이 재밌어서 그런 거 아니었을까? 죽을 때까지 안 가르쳐주면서 죽을 때까지 골려 먹으려고. 그거 아닐까?
And returning to this particular scene, the music can never be triumphant or fast-paced, because simply this is not an exuberant moment. It is a sad reflection of how the character's search for revenge and truth ultimately decays their humane core, how he slowly becomes the monster he wishes to never be.